Hey everybody, my name is Michael McDowell, and I wanted to just tell you a little bit about why I wrote Rigor Redefined. First is we need to align rigor to how we actually learn. The way we learn is dynamic, it's multi-directional. We don't learn facts and then move to application. Sometimes we move from application, then we go into facts. Sometimes we say, hey, there's a problem out there. And what we want to do is go and learn some new core content knowledge so that we can then go and try to address it. Not, we've got to learn all these facts and then we can go and actually live our lives. Bloom never intended for his taxonomy to be interpreted as a hierarchy. If it was, he'd call it Bloom's hierarchy, not Bloom's taxonomy. It's that pyramid. That thing got in the way. Rigor isn't rigid. We learn across different levels, across at different times, and we need to really be thinking about how we think about categories of learning and not taxonomical levels. And this book shreds the myth that learning is hierarchical, and it moves us towards centering it to these taxonomical levels, which is much more centered around learning. As such, the pyramid's got to go. The idea of prioritizing levels of learning is a myth. That idea of a pendulum swinging, it's either facts and procedures or it's these 21st century skills. We have to get away from that as well. Maybe a pinwheel is a better way of thinking about it. Number two, the reason I wrote this is that we need to focus on small, doable practices and not big projects or big events. It's about routines. Change management in schools need to be directly aligned to habit science. Practices need to be small, sustainable, and stackable. And this starts with identifying subtle shifts in our practices and discussing the impacts with our colleagues. Over time, we continue to build and refine our practices in a slow and steady manner. We become the tortoise rather than the hare. The third reason I wrote this is that these practices need to be in a partnership between teachers and students. Students need a language of learning. They need a set of tools to discuss and monitor their learning. They need dispositional skills so that they can own their own learning over time. Using the surface, deep, and transfer taxonomy, along with developing habits in the areas of metacognition, navigating challenges, and working with peers, that enables students to build their own ability to own their own learning over time. And so that's why I wrote it. Small doable practices, taxonomical levels, and dispositions for students to take ownership over time is the whole idea behind this book. And so I hope you'll check it out. And if we can ever provide you with any kind of support around how do you actually implement this work in your classrooms or schools, let me know. Thanks, everybody.